Go ahead.
Genesis 1 and 11. And God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so. So again, yesterday Nancy was talking about the biblical influence of the traditional religious template and how
I mean,
that template, which has been downloaded, we have been programmed with, it has been installed within us, and it opposes the organic, eternal template that is in all of us. It was superimposed over that to deceive us. So when we read Genesis 1 and 11, because of this religious program, because of this false template that was established by, scientific perceptual social engineering, we read that and automatically we attribute it to some type of diet that you're supposed
ab-
to just eat herbs and fruit with the seeds in it. But understand, at the time that it was written, family, there was no seedless this or seedless that technology.
right,
So
right.
what we're doing, you can see, Nasik, we're carrying the program back with us and coloring something like it was never intended to be colored, and interpreting something in a way that it was never to be interpreted. This is proof of the deception, and it is group deception. Now, see, it is universal deception, universal
Universe.
programming.
I mean,
So no one has escaped. There is an organic meaning to this, an eternal meaning to this that doesn't have to do with just earthly fruit, family, with the seeds in it or without the seeds in it. So we want to begin here and we want to follow the narrative. We want to follow the narrative. This is the law of first mention of fruit and seed and fruit after its kind. The word of the now it gets to it pretty quickly here. The word fruit appears in the above text, Genesis 1 and 11, identifying that all things come from God, identifying that all things come from God or the divine feminine. I'm going to say
huh,
that again. It's identifying that all things come from God or the divine feminine. This is the first indication of a pattern, family, a template that all things come from. Does it make sense?
yes.
Fruit shares the same gematria value of 74 with Jesus, Yeshua. He is the first fruit, meaning that he is a sort of template or pattern in the allegory. See, we like you said, we took the allegorical and made it
Yeah,
historical.
absolutely. That's what we did.
So these numbers 7 and 4 are going to be very important as we follow this, family. So write those numbers down. Now, I said that even looking at where fruit is first mentioned, Genesis 1 and 11, you can look and you can see the template. And I'm going to explain exactly what this eternal template is. As above, so below. As above, so below. All right? It may be boldly asserted that there is not a religion that does not spring from the sexual distinction. I'm going to read that again. It may be boldly asserted that there is not a religion that does not spring from the sexual distinctions. There is not a form, an idea, a grace, a sentiment, a felicity in art which is not owing in one form or another to phallicism and its means of indication, which at one time family in the monuments, whether statuesque or architectural, covered the whole earth. Do you think that's an important topic? That our forefathers covered the whole, whatever they drew, it had a sexual connotation.
Wow.
All this has been ignored, averted from, carefully concealed, together with the philosophy that is the teaching which went with it. I'm bringing it back. I'm reviving.
Yeah.
Because, Nasi, because of the scientific, perceptual, social engineering, it
Mhm.
was judged indecent.
Right.
It was judged indecent. I got to show you all these symbols because, family, the symbols, along with the knowledge, the philosophy, the teaching that accompanies it, will speak to your subconscious and activate divine power within you. The divine power to create fruit yielding what? Seed and more fruit. I ain't talking about apples and oranges.
Talk to us.
And I'm not simply talking about producing male and female children.
Oh boy.
I'm talking about creating a new heaven and a new earth. But we've been prevented from doing that because of the perceptions that we hold. So it says, all this has been ignored, averted from, carefully concealed, together with the philosophy of the teaching or the knowledge which went with it, the instructions that went with it, because it was judged indecent. I have those instructions, family. I have them.
Come on with it.
And I have the symbols. So what I'm doing, I'm showing you again how to get the blessings, how to make the blessings the necessary judgment, outcome, or result. As if anything, listen, seriously resting in nature and being notoriously everything in nature and art, everything at least that is grand and beautiful, could be apart from the mind making it so indecent.
Mm.
How could how could your own body be indecent? Who would tell you something like that? That you have
Mm.
physical organs of the body that are evil and indecent. Who would do such a thing? We're going to find out that our enemies, family, the devil,
Huh. Who
all
that
internal,
be?
all internal,
All
all
internal.
internal. So Nasi put the spotlight on it yesterday. Again, you need to go back and familiarize yourself with that very personal message. What he did was hold a mirror up in front of us all. and showed us exactly where this false template, this false pattern resides in us. We should have no questions about that. So, this first fruit and the first mention of this fruit yielding fruit after its own kind and seed being in itself, mentioned in Genesis 1 and 11, from a from the geometrical value, it is linked to Jesus or the Christ. All right, more specifically, the Christ.
He
So
died right there. That's where it said the first fruit of those that slept, huh?
that's correct, right? So we go to John, the first chapter, 42nd verse. Blessed art thou, Mary. Doesn't say Mary, but it was talking about the Mary or Miriam in Hebrew was the one that was being referred to. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb. Obviously talking about Jesus or Yeshua or the Christ. All right. It's
Mm-hmm.
curious to note that the word Mariam, remember, the Mem and Mem Sophie means rebellion. It means rebellion, not conformity, not conformity to groupthink, not conformity to the old pattern or the old paradigm, but rebellion from that.
Interesting. Right.
So I'm going to make a later connection here because we're going to talk about this is going to lead us into the uh, marriage, the first miracle that Yeshua performed. And that was the miracle of changing the water into wine. All right. So I'm going to make this reference, but I'm not going there. I just want to put this on view for you. The Hebrew word Yonah, H3123, is from the same as Yayin, H3196. It's called the fruit of the vine, right? Yayin,
Right.
wine, meaning effervescence or fermented wine. All right.
Right.
So I just want to make that connection because we are looking at this from an alchemical process. We have to look at it from in the terms, Nasi, not of our programming, because
Right.
you just said all of this stuff was what? Averted, ignored, carefully concealed. So ain't no way we can get an understanding of this
No way.
by uh, by using the tools and the weapons that we were provided with under the old pattern, under the old template, under the old paradigm. So we have to go back to our ancient knowledge, and that is alchemy. And let us understand what this is. Alchemy derives from an Arabic word meaning black. So right away it's talking about melanin.
Yeah.
So changing the water into wine is activating the melanin. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. It's activating the melanin, all right? As well as the Hebrew word ham, or like we used to say, or the proper way of saying it is cam or kim,
Calm.
but it's
Calm.
correctly
Yeah.
kim, right? Meaning burnt, black,
Right.
etc. It harks back to ancient China, India, Greece, where philosophers, these are the individuals, this is a philosophy that held the philosophy that has been concealed, sought a means of immortality and experimented with metals and other substances.
Slicker, your voice is breaking up. I don't know if it's happening for anybody else, but for me, it's your voice is breaking up like you're
Okay.
talking in a barrel.
Yeah.
Is that happening for anybody else?
Okay for me.
Yeah, I think it might just be
Okay.
because I'm looking at the monitor and it's you know, I'm not getting any indication, so it might be yours. So it says it harks back to ancient China, India, and Greece, where philosophers, and remember, the philosophy was concealed, averted, and ignored as well. Now, see,
Yeah, yeah,
which sought a means of immortality and experimented with metals and other substance to create what is referred to as the elixir of life. They weren't trying to
yeah.
do it using metals and stuff like that. That was a sham. That was
Right.
a sham. That was a diversionary tactic that they was
Yeah,
using. They understood what the elixir of life is and was, like we understand it. And it is melanin. That is something that continues to this day in mainstream society, in mainstream science, in mainstream religion and spirituality. It continues to be ignored, averted, and carefully concealed. It is the elixir of life. So we're going to establish that right now. Another reference here from the pyramid text that is going to be useful as we get into the miracle of changing the water into wine at the marriage of Cana in that allegory. But again, just mentioning it, the doors of the sky are open, the doors of the firmament are thrown back at dawn for Horus of the gods. He goes up to the field of reeds. He bathes or is baptized in the field of reeds. That's utterance 355 from the pyramid text. What we're doing when we talk about the doors of the sky family, the doors of the firmament, I'm talking in terms of the blessing, where the scriptures talk about the windows of heaven being opened up to you.
yeah.
Okay? This is what we're talking about, just familiarizing you with uh, with other cultures and other time periods and how they talked about this. Because we got to break this religious paradigm now, see,
Absolutely.
its own religious paradigm. So in Malachi 3 and 10,
Right.
it says, bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in mine house, and prove me now herewith, saith the Lord of hosts. If I will not open you the windows of heaven, these are the doors of the sky, the doors of the firmament, all right, in the pyramid text, and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it. Heavily coded, heavily
Heavenly.
language. So I'm going to decode it for you because, you know, our religious conditioning and programming has uh, deceived us to thinking that we have to bring the tithes somewhere else to someone else in order to be blessed. In other words, we got to give to somebody. We see a homeless person on the street.
Yeah.
We gotta give to that homeless person. And then God will see that and be pleased and will somehow bless us. Or
The
that we
major,
give. Go
you
ahead.
got the major blessing is always from the religious perspective is that you got to pay tithes,
Right,
you know what I'm saying, in order to be blessed, you
right.
know, 10% of everything that you get,
That's
at
right.
least 10%,
Right,
at least 10, you know, but in some cases, if you are lost subject, you will give all of it or the
right,
majority of it, you
right.
know.
So this is not talking about giving a to a religious institution. I remember I got kicked out of a church years ago for teaching this, and I'm going to teach it now. There was no storehouse in the temple. I'll just say that right now. And I've challenged pastors throughout the years to show me, go back in the Bible and show me where a storehouse existed in the temple. There is none. So you cannot make the connection between the temple, the ancient temple, and the church or a religious or spiritual organization that you pay tithes to. When you go back,
Storehouse is the preacher's bank account.
that's what they want us to think, and that's what many of us have thought. Or the kingdom's bank account, because
Yeah.
tell me they didn't do
Wherever.
tell me they didn't do tithing in the kingdom of Yah. It's based.
To this day.
It is not based on the eternal template. It is not. It is not even based on a biblical template that you can go to. If you go back and read where the tithes were supposed to go, you were supposed to keep the tithes in your storehouse. And then when the strangers, it was a portion that you would put away. And when you entertained strangers, you could feed them. When the Levitical priesthood would come by, you could entertain them. And you were supposed to throw a party for yourself. See, go back to the scriptures and see if I'm not lying. I couldn't get a pastor. I got kicked out of a church. Now see, they asked me to come and join their church to teach on tithing. I said, okay. I said, I come straight from the scriptures, and it was the pastor, the bishop of the church that wanted me to do it. Man, the first lady, his wife got heartless mad, wanted to shut me down. But prove to me that what I'm saying does not follow the biblical mandate. So all these have to do with us, and it has to do with our physiological makeup. It has to do with our corresponding energetic makeup. The tithes mean tenths or 1/10. These refer, family, to the 10 sephira, the 10 sephira of the tree of life, which represents our body. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the 10th and the 11th are one. Are you all with me? That's the male and female. They're one. Those two are one. I'm going to give you the science, family. I'm going to give you the science. For hundreds of years before the time of Christ, the Pythagorean philosophers believed that God communicated with man through numbers. The number 10, called the tetrachus, remember we talked about it, was a sacred number because they believed that all numbers in the world were generated from it. Look, all things were made by it, and from it all things consist. Remember what we talked about, that this first fruit, right? This first fruit, that everything comes from the first fruit, right?
Yeah.
The fruit of the womb. This elixir of life. Imagine the wonder the Pythagoreans of Judea and Galilee must have felt when the number value of the Greek numerals that stood for Jesus Christ, generated from the tetrachus, and all the powers of 10 in 3 different alphabets. The product of the letters I and X. Now, when you decompose the X and put it side by side, because the X is just the I, right? Crossed. Are y'all with me?
Right. Right.
You get the 3 pillars. You get the 3 pillars that I showed you right here.
Right. Right. Right.
Breaking it down for y'all, family.
Right.
So let's go to the basics. Nasik read yesterday from Hebrews, the 8th chapter, and I'm going to focus first on the 6th verse. But now hath he obtained a more excellent ministry, a more excellent ministry, by how much also he is the mediator of a better covenant, which is established upon better promises. The better promises are the blessings, family.
Yes.
I'm going to break this down for you and show you. I'm going to equip you with everything that you need to bless yourself. Everything. Let's start at the beginning. When you think of mediator, think of the middle of something. Do y'all see it? Think of the middle. That is the mediator right there, what I just showed you. The one that
Right.
I have bigger than the other 2 ones is the mediator. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So here you're seeing the field of creation represented by the first circle with the dot in it. Then you see the second circle, which represents the subdivision of the one. You see the one and the subdivision of the one, the 2 ones on the side, to the right and the left, right?
Right.
And in the middle, it says the vesica. It creates the vesica or the atum. The vesica in the middle, it says it's the Christ. And we're reading that Christ is the mediator, right?
Right.
The mediator of a better covenant with better blessing.
Right.
I'm showing you all your symbols. Christ, the mediator of the midpoint of a new, better covenant or marriage. For there is one God. Now, see, we know that.
Mm-hmm.
Echad, Echad, that's the first and greatest commandment. You talked about the
Right.
commandment yesterday, relative
Right.
to Ecclesiastes, that
Right.
they that love the commandment will feel no evil thing. That is wholeness.
Right.
And one mediator between God and man. You see it. One mediator between God and man, between the field of creation, Nasi, and the subdivision of the one, or the division
Right.
of the one. One mediator between God and man, the man Christ Jesus. 1 Timothy 2 and 5. Now, a mediator is not a mediator of one, but God is one. That is a paradox. If you are
Mm.
dualistic, if you're dualistic, if you are under the influence of the old paradigm,
Right.
if you are under the influence of the false template or
Yes.
pattern. We're going to see this, family. So we take the circles, family, we want to lay them on our sides. You're going to see why I'm doing it. So the mediator is in the middle. It's the yoni. It is the fruit of the womb. All right?
Um,
This is it. This is it, Nazi. We got it.
Yeah, we got it.
Colossians, the first, Colossians, first chapter, 15 through 18. Who, speaking of Christ, all right, is the image, Nasi, of the invisible God. He is the image of the organic template.
Right.
It is the pattern that's made in the image, the pattern that reflects the organic template.
Yes.
Look, the firstborn or first fruit of every creature
Right.
with melanin.
Yeah.
For by him all things, by him were all things created that are in heaven, that are in the earth, visible and invisible. Well, how can you say that when you say he is the image of God? Didn't I say the commandment is that I and my Father are one?
We read it yesterday.
Come on, we read it yesterday. But the old paradigm causes us to ask that question because it is profoundly dualistic.
Absolutely.
Whether there be thrones, Nasi, or dominions, or principalities, or powers, all things, visible and invisible, follow this template, follow
Yes.
this pattern.
Yes. Yes.
They were family created by you and for you.
Yes.
And you are before all things, and by you all things consist. I'm going to show you. Now, see, this ain't no religious doctrine or religious philosophy.
Absolutely not.
This is both spiritual and biological.
Yes, it is.
It is spiritually true or energetically true or cosmically true, as above, so below.
Absolutely.
Your body is going to follow this pattern. And he is the head of the body. Point to your head, family. That is the head of your body on a physical, from a physical, physiological standpoint. The church means circa, circles. Your head is the circle above, which is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, the first fruit of the dead, that in all things it might have preeminence. Two hemispheres of your brain. The one in the middle is the mediator. As above, so below, family. Don't lose now. Don't get off this now.
Come on, man.
Don't the brain control everything?
Yes, it does.
All things consist. If your brain dead, what happens?
Nothing.
You're dead. They unplug it. They unplug you if you're on life.
When they say that's right.
See,
So,
that's why they say
They do.
that's why they say if the brain is not in motion or the brain,
you
you
got it.
understand, active, there is no mind.
There is no mind.
What they call the mind is the brain in action or brain in motion. So
Now,
we back to what they did. They gave us what you would call a paradox in where saying brain and mind and knowing there ain't no mind, because if the brain is not active, you ain't got nothing else. But we need the mind and the brain. You understand the same thing?
Out of your mind. Yep.
This is what Nazi's been teaching us and emphasizing for years. So
Yep.
it says he, that is the Christ, the mediator, right, is the head of the body. This middle portion, Nazi, is supposed to control everything. Don't
Yeah.
that you talk about the mind, doesn't all the members of your body mind the brain?
Absolutely. That's why they call it the central nervous system.
That's correct. So it's this
Yeah.
middle portion, family, that is the vesica, that is the Christ, all right? That is the yoni, that is the creative center that produces fruit after its kind and the seed within the fruit. Are you all with me?
Yeah.
This is where you get your blessing from, family. It's called the corpus callosum. The corpus callosum. Corpus means body, all right? And kalos in Hebrew is the word for a cultured or cultivated olive tree. A cultivated olive tree.
Yeah.
I already told y'all about the two olive branches.
The brain.
I already told you all about the two olive branches. Stick with me here, family. Stick with me. Look, when the prophet woke up, he saw two olive trees, right? One to the right and one to the left. And he saw a candlestick, a golden candlestick in between. Y'all don't remember?
Yeah, that's
Hey, in the temple.
Come on
yeah,
now. Come on.
that's
The temple.
I remember.
Okay.
yeah, we remember. We remember.
Follow
Of
me
course we
now.
remember.
You
So
got it.
you have the one circle, which represents the right hemisphere of the brain, the other circle, the left hemisphere of the brain. The middle portion is the corpus callosum, the golden candlestick or the cultivated olive tree. It is major. It is a major, but not the only pathway between the two hemispheres. It connects comparable structures on each side. In other words, whatever the structure is on one side, it connects it, Nasi, with its companion on the other side.
On the other side.
We said yesterday that Nasi is showing you one side. I'm coming along and showing you the other sides. Curses, then blessings.
Yes. Right.
It's up to you to be the mediator.
Yes.
But in order to do that, you can be Nasi, like a while ago, that people were saying Nasik is teaching one thing and Eitai is teaching the other.
All right.
We said, no, it's because you're still dualistic.
Yeah, you kept monitoring them though that it wasn't like that.
You did not have the ability to be the mediator, to stand between the two things, to take a neutral position, non-attached position, and to connect comparable things. You were just seeing the differences. To connect comparable things from each side. Are you all with me?
Yes.
It permits data to be received on one side, Nasiq teaching, and to be processed in both hemispheres, to connect it, successfully connect it with what I teach. Are you all with me?
Yeah.
Does the ancestors set this up, family, so that it would strengthen you as a mediator? You would be forced, Nasi, to take that middle ground, to take the
Right.
middle path.
Right.
It aids motor coordination on the left and the right side. So this is, do you all see it? That this is the mediator, Christ in you from a physiological standpoint. The corpus callosum is the Christ in you,
Mm-hmm.
the mediator. Now, okay, I won't go there now. All right. I want you all to see that. And it's represented, now see, by the big tower or column or pillar in the middle with the two on the side. Moving forward. This gonna all make sense. Now, of the things, this is Hebrews 8. This is where Nasi taught yesterday and the day before. Now, of the things, Hebrews 8, 1 through 12. Now, of the things which we have spoken, this is the sum. In other words, we're summing everything up.
Yeah.
We have such an high priest. We have such an high priest who is set on the right hand of the throne of majesty in the heavens. Well, what are you talking about, Eitai? I thought you said the high priest, Jesus, was in the middle. Follow me. I'm going to show you your science. I'm going to show you your science. And I'm going to allow you to be skilled at training yourself to think holistically, not in terms of the differences, but in terms of the similarities. Somehow, what was in the middle moved to the right hand of God. Does it make sense?
Yes.
I'm going to show you, I'll show you a minister of the sanctuary, of the true tabernacle. Now, see, the true
Mm-hmm.
tabernacle,
Mm-hmm.
which the Lord pitched and not man. Well, we know it's not part of the simulated template,
Right.
the false template that deceived us in the past. Are you all with me?
Right.
Because because divinity did it. Man didn't have anything to do with this. For every high priest is ordained to do what? Offer gifts and sacrifices. Wherefore, it is of necessity that this man have somewhat also to offer. So it's not bulls and goats and lambs, family. We already solved that before we left Liberia, correct? When the goat hung itself.
That's right.
We already moved from that. And who moved us from that? Somebody stood up that had this knowledge, not see. Somebody
Yeah.
stood up that had this knowledge and moved to the forefront. For if he were on earth, he would not be a priest, seeing that there are priests to offer gifts according to the law. According, now see,
Right.
to the not to the eternal law, but according
Right.
to the traditional law.
Right.
This is what Nasi pointed out yesterday.
Now, Eitai,
Yes.
if I may, just a moment to to magnify what you just said. In the book of the 10th chapter of Jeremiah, verse 3, there's a word there they use as custom.
Correct. Right.
It clearly states that these customs were laws that was not, you understand, good and perfect, you understand. It clearly states there when you translate the word custom.
Okay. Well, let's read this. This is so key because it's going to talk to you about this palm tree that I just and this olive tree that I just talked to you about. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. This is Jeremiah 10, the first chapter. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen.
There we go.
Now, the way of the heathen, see, we thinking that this is some historical people. It's not
Right.
talking about, it's talking about don't get attached to what? The traditional customs.
That's right.
Keep within you the eternal pattern, the eternal template. And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. For the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of a workman with the axe. They deck it with silver and gold, which fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not.
Now the word custom is 2708.
That's correct.
2708.
So this is perfect, Nasi. This is perfect because it's talking about it within the same, with you're using the same allegorical language. It says of these things, Nasi, all these things, that they serve unto the example and shadow of heavenly things. That is the eternal template, family.
Right. 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 That's the
Moses,
eternal.
and Moses was admonished of God when he was about to make the tabernacle, which was a reflection and a model, an architectural model of your own body, your own
Yes.
physiology, both physical and energetic qualities. For see, saith he, that thou make all things according to the eternal pattern showed thee on the mount. But now hath he obtained a more excellent ministry, by how much also he is the mediator of a better covenant, which is established on better promises. The blessings, now see, the blessings. All right. So we're going to move forward, family. We're going to move forward. And we're going to talk a bit about the energetic nature of how things came into existence, the
Come on.
invisible way. Because now see, the four elements explain things, earth, fire, water, and air. They explain things, well, in the scriptures. The Bible explains things according to the four elements.
According to the
All
four
right.
elements. Right.
The invisible things are explained in terms of air. All right. Energetic things in terms of fire. Material things in terms of earth. And fluid things in terms of water. Are you all with me?
Yeah.
When it talks about the flow of things, it talks about water. The the Eon Sophia, Nasi, impacted the waters. So it was talking about the flow or the descent uh, of our divine nature in terms of a flow throughout history. Are you all with me? Does it make sense?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So all things, we'll find out that even in that fall, all things, physical, energetic, invisible, all those things diminished. They diminished to the point where we're dead now. That when we incarnated into the world during this dispensation, we woke up dead. When we were born dead. It was no place left, now see, to go but a little further down,
A little farther down.
and then
Bottom out.
bottom out, and then we could begin to rise, which we are doing in earnest. So everything, remember, everything originated from thought, family. Everything originated from thought, and that is the outwards. That is the first point here that they don't have um, indicated, but it's the first point. Well, let's start from the inner circle, right? It's thought. I see how they have it. They have it from physical terms, so we'll look at it that way. It's cognition, Nasi, or thought, or consciousness, and that the physical organ of cognition and thought is what? The brain.
Mm-hmm.
And the brain, family, is the mediator or the high priest or the king or the queen or the high priestess of the body. And the body is our bodily environment in which is experienced what we perceive as an external environment. Are you all with me?
Mm-hmm.
But all of that is just a division of one. It is
Yes.
a division of one. The thought, Nasi, goes into motion by way of polarity. So physically, the brain is developed to handle from a physical standpoint this polarity. So the two hemispheres are developed to reflect that polarity. But there is always a mediator, which is divinity, that exists as that corpus callosum, that part of the brain. And then you have the body, and then you have the environment. Listen to this. God is consciousness. How many times y'all heard that?
Yes. Yeah,
God,
I got beat up about that. What you talking about? You
well,
gonna tell me that Buddha is more powerful than Yah and all?
come on. Well, you can't even deal with that.
Oh.
But God is not a creator. Stop talking about the creator. Stop using that term. That is dualistic. It, not he or she. It is androgynous. It is not he or she. It is both he and she. If I gotta talk in terms of dualism,
Right.
it, and that is a profound term, uh, uh, etymology, etymologically and um, and phonetically. because it corresponds to id. Id, all right, is not independent. That's the divine division of you. That is the central pillar, the id, the Christ consciousness, with the ego on one side and the superego on one side and the ego on the other side. Adam on one side and Kava, Eve on the other side. Y'all gonna see this perfectly. It is not independent of you. It is the totality of everything. It is everything you are. It is the cosmos. It is the what you falsely perceive as the external environment in all of its totality. That is you. So when I call myself God, I am not talking about my personal self. Listen, family, I am talking about the expression of the God self that rests inside of me. The verb, the energy, not the noun. This has been the problem, Nasi.
Hey, talk to me. There we go.
We are talking about thought that has moved into action. It is a verb that has
Yes.
acted upon everything and is the expression of that action. It's an energy, not the noun. Once you think God is a noun, person, place, or thing, you separate yourself from it and immediately become a limited being. This is where that programming, now see, the old paradigm has got
Yes.
people locked into.
Yes. Yes.
That's what separates the believers, religious, from the knowers, spiritual.
Yeah.
So let's move on, family. And he set up pillars. He set up the pillars in the porch of the temple. Your body is the temple of the living God. Anybody ever heard of that?
Oh yeah.
And he set up the right pillar and he called the name Yachin, meaning fixed, firm, and established. And he set up the left pillar and called the name thereof Boaz, which means fleet or fleetness. One is fixed and firm, immovable, established, but the other is fleet. Polar opposites, family.
Pull
Polar.
up.
We're going to
Right.
explain. We're going to explain that in more detail, but I just want you all to see. See, these are the two pillars. You see the two circles here. You say, but how are those two pillars? Because you're looking at them from the top down. Just like you're looking at these three pillars from the top down. Did I lose y'all?
With you, Eitai.
Pardon me?
I'm with you.
Okay. They look like circles that are next to each other because you're looking at them from a top-down perspective. This is why I'm showing them to you. So this is the foundation, or one of the foundations in 1 Kings 7 and 2. Revelations in 3, 11 through 13. Behold, listen, family, I come quickly with the fleetness. I come quickly. Hold that fast, fixed or firm. Y'all not hearing me. One is called Jasim, fixed, firm, established. The other is fleetness, meaning to move quickly. Behold, I come quickly.
That's Boaz.
Boaz, hold that fast which thou hast.
All right, that's my king.
That's Yakin.
All right.
That no man do what? Take that crown. Where do you wear a crown at, family?
Oh, your head, huh?
Come on now. Come on.
Uh,
On
Y'all,
top of your head,
that's
yes.
right. Y'all tell me it's the top down, right? The top of your head.
That's where that chakra is. That's where the chakra is, the
That's
crown.
correct. Y'all tell me that our ancestors weren't brilliant with these words.
brilliant, brilliant,
To him that
brilliant.
Even in the translations.
that's
Oh,
correct. They were right there. This is what I want y'all to understand. They were right there when they were translating it, making
See,
sure that they got it right.
right. This is the testimony. See, all of this stuff here. This is verifying what I stated yesterday about how the old paradigm
Right.
has trapped everybody. Because what we talking about right here about this translation, we are convinced that the English you can't do nothing with it. It's only the Hebrew. That's just that's just
it's amazing that they knew where we would be at this time so that we could get it.
absolutely.
We right on time. I keep saying it.
Wow. Whew. And that it would be clear to us.
Him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my God. You the pillar. I'm going to show
Yeah.
you. And he shall go no more out. In other words, you will not look outside of yourself.
Right. Right.
Yeah, this is something else. You know, it's something else to see the ancients, the ancestors bring these things out to us now. And if we would, there are people, I put it this way, there are people who won't be able to see this. And as a result, they're lost in Christianity and are wandering around in the maze, wandering around the maze, trying to find a way out, and there is no way out of that maze.
Amari, we got to show them the way out. They're not going to go and until we go. We can't be stuck. You understand? Now, see, we can't be stuck still in the matrix, still under the old paradigm, and trying to leave somebody else out.
Right. It ain't just Christians. It's every religion, as Eitai had stated earlier.
Right.
Right here, right now, in the kingdom, right now. We stuck in
Me and
this.
my Abba are one.
Stuck.
Abba, that was my thought. Me and my Abba are one for sure.
That's
You
right.
took that right.
But Miss Ura, all yesterday, you know, and the day before, I'm talking about he put a mirror up before us and said,
Kane,
this is
absolutely.
where we are. And he shall go no more out, and I will write upon him the name of my God. Listen, all of this is going to be explained. The name of the city of my God, which is the New Jerusalem. This is what we're building, family. This is the blessing. This is the environment that we are establishing. But we have to establish it not from the old paradigm,
Right.
but from the eternal paradigm or template. Or else, not say we just gonna be repeating what has gone before. It has to be the New Jerusalem, which cometh down where? Out of heaven, from God.
Out of heaven.
and I will write my new name upon him. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to your head. The circle, the circa. This ain't coming from me, it's coming from your head, if you can hear it. We see here, family, the symbolic Temple of Solomon, which was what? Designed to be a pattern, a template to represent the two hemispheres of the brain with the corpus callosum in the middle. And you all see the three pillars. And above the middle pillar, family, you see the seal of Solomon. That is what it's actually called. We've been calling it the Magen David or the Star of David, but it is actually more correctly the seal of Solomon. The seal of Solomon. And I'm going to show you in the Kabbalistic tree of life the three pillars. Do you see the square at the bottom here? Does everybody see the square at the bottom?
Yeah.
In the center. That is the center column. That represents the center of the brain. The center of the brain. I'm going to show you your divine physiology here. The two rows on the right and the left of that represent the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere. All right? What happened, Nasi, is that when we endeavored to enter into the physical realm, all right, you all have to hear this. We did not come here, our bodies were not the same. We were not the same being that we are now. Y'all have
Right.
to understand that.
Right. Right.
I'm telling you this from the beginning, that if you're going to approach those ancestors that are very ancient, watch how you approach them, because they're not the same creature that you are.
Right. Right.
They are more divine and more holistic than they are human. They can't even understand you unless you talk to them in holistic language, Nasi. They can't understand you. And the language of holism was symbols. This is why I'm making you familiar with these symbols. The top circle, family, represents that holistic being. It was a more divine being. It was androgynous, neither male nor female, but both male and female. Are you all hearing me?
Yes.
And then the two split. The one rather split into two. The male aspect sat at the right hand of divinity. Represented by the Yud or the Abba. The female aspect, represented by the Hey, sat at the left hand of divinity. This is the right hand path. This is the left hand path. The left hand path represents fleetness. The right hand represents firmness, severity, and mercy. Is everyone with me?
Yes.
This is just showing the physical representation of the structure of the brain that we have now. The brain that individuals had in this first incarnation, Nasi, is not the same brain as we have now. It
Yeah.
was not hemispherical. It was
Right.
one.
Right.
But as we fell into duality, our
That's
physicality reflected that fall.
Eitai, I
Yeah,
have a question at this point. Uh, with what you laying out here is showing that when we left wholeness, divinity, unity, and oneness, it's split into duality. And now, the question, I just laid that for a reference point to take that. And now let's look at, what you were just saying in terms of we're not the same
physiological.
species year before. In other words, our physical makeup was not like it is now.
That's
So that brings me to the question: is that a connection to why they talk about the cells dividing,
That's correct.
as opposed to the cells not dividing?
That's correct.
Because what they were eternal, there was no division. But in the fall into duality, the cells start to divide.
That's correct. And we
Okay,
entered family, we entered into more and more diversity. More
there you
and
go.
more diversity.
There you go.
More and more separateness and division with the divine. With the
Wow.
divine. But yet and still, that same eternal pattern, Nasi, remains in us. That
Absolutely.
same capability to
Right.
return to singularity is in us.
Yeah.
This is what I'm showing you how to do, but I got to give you the science first. So now
Wow.
we went to Exodus 12 and 7. And thou shalt take the blood. Now remember, the life is in the blood.
Yeah.
Blood here is an activating element. And strike it on the two side posts. In other words, the first thing you have to do is fully energize both of the right brain thinking and the left brain thinking. This is what I'm
Right.
doing now. This is
Right.
what I'm doing now. What was this in preparation for? Leaving Egypt, the old
Yeah.
paradigm,
Right.
the old paradigm, the old template, the old pattern, and strike it on the
Yes.
two side posts and then
Yes,
on the
sir.
upper post of the house where
Come
it
on with it.
shall eat it. Now, we'll get into this eating a little bit later. But so it means that you have to activate. Now, doesn't this look like an upper doorpost of a house?
Yes. Yeah.
That is that is your, well, we'll see. That's your head portion, family. And you see it in the three pillars here. With what? The divine template up above in the more prominent temple or pillar. All right? Or column. So this is merely a representation of us, both energetically and physiologically.
Akita, in that center uh, column, is that an eye in there? It's kind of small on my screen.
Yes,
I can see there's some symbol inside of there.
yes, there is. It is an eye. It
All
is
right, hold on. I'm drawing it.
right. I mean, you'll get it in the notes. So these things, the brain family, the brain, the triune brain, left, right, and middle, was represented in all ancient cultures and arts. This, from a physical standpoint and from an energetic standpoint, is the primary organ of creation. Everything comes into existence from thought, from thought to reality. Is that not correct?
Yes.
So this is the upper region of creative, the upper organ of creativity, the upper organ of creativity in the human physical body. And again, this middle portion here is from the ancient art. You see the two serpents or cobras on the side, representing the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere. The central portion is the corpus callosum, and you see the three spheres. The three spheres representing the three sephira, the three primary sephira: singularity and duality. And this is the Yud Hey. This is the Yud Hey. Remember, it's talking about the name, the pillars in Revelations 3, 11 to 13. It's talking about these pillars and the name and the city.
Right. Right.
Connect all this up. We're not going to do it all at once, but we will connect it up. You must familiarize yourself with these symbols. And as you familiarize yourself, family, these symbols are going to activate things in your divine nature, in your divine mind, or awareness, or consciousness. Are you all with me? See, we've stayed away from these things. Why? Because the old paradigm told us, hey, that ain't your stuff. That's some kind of heathen pagan thing. That's devil worship. That's demonology. So we're going to take a look, family, and we're going to really understand that all of this, see, before the inversion, was primarily talking about the divine feminine, as we see represented now. Remember, I shall make you a pillar. And the central figure we see Astarte or Astoret, standing on a horse. Now, the horse is Kabbalist, all right? It means that this is hidden wisdom, Kabbalah, all right? Hidden wisdom, hidden knowledge. That what you're seeing is hidden knowledge. This is the Canaanite goddess Astarte or Astoret, from a gold plaque found in Lachish, 13th century BCE. It's in the Israel Museum in Jerusalem. And you see the three pillars. Do you not see the three pillars, family? Represented, she is the central pillar. You are the mediator, standing between, holding the two stalks. Are you all seeing it?
Yeah.
It is the same as the three pillars that you see represented here. It is the same as the brain. It's saying that you have to unify and activate all three columns. You have to anoint them. You have to activate them. Nobody is going to do it. And again, the way that you are doing this is by recognizing what was hidden from you, what was concealed, what was averted from, that our ancestors knew would activate us. But we were not supposed to be activated until this time. They're showing us that it is our responsibility. And from an energetic standpoint, now see, we have to activate that divine feminine first, whether male or female, in order to do this. This is the divine feminine has always stood for wisdom, for wisdom. This is the hidden wisdom. All right.
Right.
This is that wisdom that was averted from, that was concealed. Watch this. Is everyone all right?
Everyone's okay here.
All right. Moving forward as we close, family. Scientists find they can control how people react to group pressure. Scientific social engineering. Scientists have identified the part of the brain responsible for controlling whether we conform to expectations and group pressure. Can you believe this, Nasi?
Yeah, this is.
Our forefathers understood this.
I mean, Eitai.
Now look, the way that I just want to show you the other ways before we get into that our ancestors represented in symbols the three or the tripartite brain, the wings of the falcon. All right, you see the falcon holding two objects, right? Two similar objects. It's like Ashtarte here holding the two similar objects. It's the same as the three pillars. See, this middle portion of the right portion of the brain, or the right portion of the brain, the feminine aspect of the brain family, allows you to see patterns, allows you to see symbols, allows you to see similarities in patterns. That has been shut down. You got to activate that. You got to activate that, and then you'll be able to see that the falcon with the body in the middle, with the tail here, is no different than the central pillar. The central pillar. And the wings represent the two hemispheres of the brain. That's why I put the brain in the middle. Also, the beetle, the scarab, is the same thing. That middle portion, the body, is the mediator. And the wings that are spread out are the two hemispheres of the brain. Also, the sun disk, I didn't put it down there, with the wings, all right? With the wings is representing the same thing. Scientists have identified the part of the brain responsible for controlling whether we conform to the expectations of group pressure. Anybody want to guess what portion of that brain controls conformity to group pressure and groupthink? Is it the left, right, or the middle?
Wait a minute. This is the right brain, left.
Keep listening.
No.
I want y'all, the mediator family. Listen.
Mediator, the middle.
Mediator controls everything.
All right.
The researchers found they were able to control whether volunteers conform to social pressure by using powerful electromagnetic pulses that change the activity of the small part of the brain. What are the powerful electromagnetic pulses that you generate? What are they called? The powerful electromagnetic pulses that we generate. Aren't they called thoughts?
Yeah.
So they are, now see, simulating thought in order to change the activity over what they call a small part of the brain.
So that's why this whole epigenetic thing is so vital to them.
All of it fits in now. See, all of it, all research like this. This is they want to activate that divine aspect in them,
Yeah.
but generally speaking, cannot do it. Cannot do it by the same means that we can do it organically. So they have to use technology and
Right.
control this. Volunteers whose posterior medial frontal cortex, an area in the middle of the brain that is associated with reward processing, blessings, that is associated with reward process. Is that not blessings?
That's blessing.
Were exposed to the magnetic pulses suffer reduced levels of conformity. So they are able to reduce the levels of conformity. And why are they doing that? Because they know, now see, that conformity to the old paradigm,
Yeah.
old pattern, that they have to do what? Rebel. Miriam, that they have to rebel by using the fruit. Huh?
They use technology such as the heart machine to control the ultramagnetic fields in different environments,
That's correct.
which control the brain, the way people think.
Correct. The researchers believe this part of the brain dates back a long way in the evolution of animals. So they talk about evolution, but we know it dates back a long way to the devolution from our,
Yes.
because there's no such thing as no evolution now, see,
Right.
and is responsible for automatically correcting our performance when we fall out of line with the group. What is that called? That's programming.
Right.
To keep us into groupthink, to keep us what? Locked into the old paradigm. But
Right.
see, they're trying to develop this to reduce levels of conformity.
Yeah.
So they know this science that we're putting on view for our family. They know about it. In the study, researchers asked, look, 49 female volunteers. Huh?
49 female.
Why females? Y'all,
Yeah, they know.
y'all see a star tape up here? They know this just like I'm showing it to y'all.
Absolutely.
You have
Right.
to activate the feminine energy, the feminine aspect in you in order to free yourself from this old paradigm. To take part in a study, and they were asked to rate the attractiveness of 220 photographs of female faces, but they were allowed to change their ratings after seeing what others in the study had scored. When transcranial electromagnetic stimulation was used to inhibit the activity of neurons in the posterior medial frontal cortex that's located in the middle of the brain. The participants did not change their ratings of the photographs, so they were more in line with the rest of the group. Dr. Klukarev believes this part of the brain, that middle part of the brain, is responsible for generating an error signal, a corrective signal when individuals deviate from the group opinion.
Wow.
That's proof positive, Nasik, that we are programmed.
Yeah. Yeah.
It didn't have anything to do with no evolution. It had to do with devolution.
Absolutely. The whole thing is to prevent what they would refer to as evolution or what we would refer to as ascension.
That's correct. Triggering a cascade that leads them to conform with the group view. He said, what if the mechanism could be suspended for a time? The group who were exposed to the TSM changed their views to a much lesser extent. They were immune to the group pressure and therefore, Nasi, immune to the false template, immune to the false template or the false pattern.
So they done ran the test to see exactly how to make it work.
That's correct.
Wow.
Individuals differ in strength of the error signal, which is why some people are more conformist than others. It also tells us that conformity, listen, is rather an automatic process that is based on an old evolutionary, that is devolutionary mechanism.
Right.
It's proof
Right.
positive that you are part of an old paradigm.
Yeah.
That you try to conform with the group. That you're afraid to what? Rebel.
Yeah.
Afraid to tell me we haven't had that in our life experience.
Oh, absolutely.
Come on now. And this is why individuals that Nasi that are governing or there to protect and be the custodians of the old paradigm, this is why they insist on conformity.
Yeah.
To the old template, to the old pattern, to the old paradigm. As we close, family, I want to show you all that all of this, no matter what culture, that all of the cultures, it was reflected, now see, like we said, that this idea, when they talk about sexual distinction here, they're talking about the organic reproductive impulse and ability that is in us. It may be boldly asserted that there is not one religion that does not spring up from the sexual distinction. There is not a form, an idea, a grace, a sentiment, a felicity in art, which is not owing in one form or another to phallicism or your organic reproductive power. Organic, not just physical.
Right.
And
Right.
means of indication, which at one time in the monuments, statuesque, or architectural, covered the whole earth. So I want to give you examples, family, of these things so that you can recognize these three pillars, one wing to the right, one wing to the left, and the body of the falcon standing between the two. All right? one hemisphere, the other hemisphere, and the mediating Christ energy in the middle. One side of the beetle, the other side of the beetle, one wing, the other wing, and the mediating portion. So when you see things represented like this, and now see, what shape is the beetle? I want y'all to see this shape. Isn't that not the heart shape?
Yeah.
We follow it, the heart shape. We're going to go into all of this, family, because we have to see these things. It is everywhere. The knowledge of self is everywhere, but we've been programmed to ignore it. We've been
Couldn't.
programmed to avert our attention from it when we see it, and it's hidden in plain view.
Yeah.
This is the figure Viracocha. Viracocha is the great creator God, and we know that it is not a person, that
Right.
it's talking about the creative ability in the pre-Inca and Inca mythology of the Andes region of South America. Viracocha created the universe, sun, moon, stars, time, by commanding the sun to move over the sky. Worshipped as a god of the sun and of storms. He is represented as wearing the sun for a crown and the thunderbolts in his hands and the tears descending from his eyes. We're going to decode all of this. We're going to show you what Nasi, we're going to show you what the six heads mean. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Malkiel, that are on the hem of his garment. And look, the seventh head that is down here in the box, Nasi, inverted.
Uh-huh.
You see it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Turned upside down. That's where we
Yeah.
are now.
Yeah.
In the seventh primary body. In the seventh primary body, according to the 7 chakras.
In. Hmm.
It is represented, family, in the Jed pillar. The Jed pillar, which is in the middle, bringing the two things together. Represented by Nasi, the 7 monkeys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Are y'all
Right.
seeing it? Same symbol.
Yeah.
You descend by moving from right to left. Yud, hey. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You see the arch on the top representing the crown of your head.
Yeah.
Crown of your head, that saying that all of the universe exists within you. It was created in you, by you, and for you. But if you're in dualistic thought, you'll never be able to see this. You'll never be able to activate any of this. And again, you'll be stuck in Egypt under the old paradigm, or you'll perish in the wilderness, or you'll become just a pillar of salt. Now, see,
Yeah.
a pillar of salt. Right as we close, we're going to sum up this first session, and we're going to spend as much time as we need on this, family. We're going to sum it up by reading this and then going to another image that is going to speak of this. Do y'all see within the image the three pillars represented by the winged women on either side of the central figure?
Right.
All right, this is the same pattern that we've been showing you. And you see the 1, 2, 3 right here, the triangle right at the top, right
Right.
where the head of the man is, that is represented here, right above his head, rather. All right. So it says, now see, mysteries of Egypt coming up, wonders of Egypt coming up.
Uh-huh.
In the teachings of the ancient Egyptian mysteries, the structure of multidimensional reality is revealed in the body of this deity, the Neter Osiris. Here, the Jed pillar represents the spine of Osiris, and of his light body representing the ladder to the imperishable stars, home of the netters in the Duat. And he states, listen, I am the one that becomes two. I am the two that becomes four. I am the four that becomes eight. After that, I am one again.
Hmm.
Let me read that again, and I'll demonstrate it. I am the one. Do y'all see the top, the center of the circle?
Yeah.
That becomes two. I am the two, one, two. Watch this. That becomes four. One, two, three, four. Y'all see it?
Right.
I am the four. One, two, three, four. That becomes eight. Five, six, seven, eight. And the eight, now see, is the head inverted within the box. Within the box. That shows how we emanated from singularity
Wow.
into the material world. And the eight, once that you've reached the bottom, you become one again. Congratulations, you all are on your way up.
Huh, huh. Wow.
But we have to familiarize ourselves with this knowledge. With this knowledge. Now see, John,
Yeah.
John 2, St. John 2, from the first to the 11th verse. John 2, 1 through 11, is going to give us and begin to teach us the fundamentals of how to return back. That once we've reached the lowest level, it's going to give us the fundamentals, the information, family, on how we can know ourselves totally, not just a biological lesson, but to know our bodies totally, as above, so below, and from a creative, energetic standpoint, even from a operative or sustainative standpoint, and even from a destructive, energetic standpoint, because we're going to have all three of these things operational in order for us to escape the old paradigm and enter into the promised land, family, the New Jerusalem, Canaan land, the land flowing with milk and honey, creating a new environment, new heavens and new earth. So we're going to end there, and we're going to begin at the first miracle, changing the water to wine. And we're going to get a thorough understanding of that and apply it with these basics. All right? So I'm going to end here, ask if there are any questions or comments.